Hi again, this is Stuart Webb, CEO, business mentor, podcast host with another one-shot video blog. All the mistakes, stay in. I want to return to a subject I have discussed before on these blogs, negotiations. I know a lot of us have misconceptions and fears about negotiation. We're often taught to view it as a battle over money or whatever, and because of that, many of us feel afraid or avoid it altogether. Did you know that research shows that 54% of us didn't negotiate our last salary? It's really eye-opening to realise that negotiation is not just about money. Well, it's a part of our everyday interactions. It's like when we're driving, and we call it steering, without even realising that it's a form of negotiation. You are negotiating your way down the street. I had a moment like that when I told my son to navigate carefully around a crowded supermarket with a trolley. I told him to negotiate carefully at the end of the aisle, and he replied, "I'll steer my way and they can watch out." And it made me realise that negotiation is really just about guiding relationships, and it encompasses so much more than just discussions about money. So let's talk about the 5 lessons of negotiation. First lesson: when we consciously focus on everyday steering, it can make a significant impact on our success in money conversations. I've learned to notice opportunities to negotiate literally all around me, like taking the time to understand my clients' priorities, better reaching out to my clients regularly to stay updated on their businesses, helping them to steer their way through things, using that as a guide for my conversation. Lesson 2. Did you know that only 7% of people achieve the best outcome in negotiations? Why? Well, successful negotiators start with open questions that uncover the other person's needs, concerns, and goals. What did they do? Well, they didn't lead with their points. They asked questions first. Bottom line, in negotiation, you get more by asking questions than you do by arguing. But not just any questions. That 7%, they asked open questions. And most of us aren't great at asking open questions. When I teach people about asking questions, I say, okay, I've just taken a trip. What can you ask me to get some good information? What are the top 2 questions they asked? Well, I bet you could probably guess. The number 1 question is, where did you go? My answer could be, did you have a good time? Yes. Those are 2 very close questions with 2 one-word answers. What have you learned so far? Not a lot. So what's the best question? Well, it's a bit of a trick because technically the very best question of all doesn't end with any sort of question mark. It's tell me all about your trip. Tell me is the biggest question you can ask, and it's the most powerful first question in any negotiation. Whether that be at work or at home or anywhere. Say with a hiring manager, tell me, how does the company see the salary range for this position? With your teenager, tell me, what's making you ask for a raise in your allowance? Tell me gets you the most information, but it also builds trust. So it creates the best deals. So it's not just about gathering information, it's about also building the relationship trust, which ultimately leads to a much better deal in any negotiation. Okay, lesson 3. Lesson 3 actually starts before the negotiation starts. I call it the mirror phase, and this is where we have to negotiate, if you like, with ourselves first. It's critical because if we don't get this right, if we don't start the right way, the negotiation stops there. Because we have to negotiate with ourselves first before we negotiate with anyone else. And that's pretty much the most critical part of the negotiation too. Because if we don't get this right, the negotiation will go nowhere. We don't ask. We get confused about our priorities. We shut ourselves down before we give ourselves or anybody else the chance to open up the negotiation. So we need to reflect on past successes before going into the negotiation. We need to really think about what we can do to make a difference. We need to remind ourselves of our own strengths and help us to gather valuable insights into strategies that are likely to work and work successfully. Okay, let's move on to lesson 4, and that's the importance of silence. Sometimes saying less can actually lead to better outcomes in any negotiation. I've seen a brilliant sales executive lose deals because they talked too much. They'd ask a great question and then they would get scared of the silence and they would eat it up like what they were saying with their words. They'd say, "What do you need to get this done here?" Well, I know our price point might be a bit higher, but that's great, because if you look at our competitors, I think if you go to their online views and look at what their customers say, whatever you want to know. Do you want to know what the secret of great deals are? Shut up. Recent research found that leaving a period of silence in a negotiation not only did it make it more likely that the other person would give you a higher value, but it also came across as collaborative. So, how much silence? I just did it there, about 3.5 seconds. I bet you were nervous, I bet you thought something had happened, but we all survived. Ask your question, make your proposal, and then shut up. Finally, lesson 5. That's to see your adversaries as partners. We often view the other party as an opponent, but in most everyday negotiations, they then go on to become your partners once the deal is done. It's important to remember that even when the negotiations may seem tough, we're ultimately working towards a shared goal. I've seen how acknowledging a shared objective can turn a conflict into a partnership. Negotiation is not a battle. It is simply steering. And if we lead with curiosity about ourselves and about our partners in the negotiation, we won't just create deals, we'll create great relationships along the way. And it's that relationship that will lead to great things after negotiation is done. Okay, that's it from me today. Thank you for participating and watching. If you've got comments, why not drop a line below and go to the forum and drop in your comment. Also pass this along to a friend. Tell them they might need some help with their negotiations. If you want a quick and simple way to find out how things work, why not go to our website and download one of our free resources that will help you to understand how to negotiate. Go to the-complete-approach.com and look for the free resources there about our one-page download, how to grow your business. Thanks for watching. and speak to you again very soon.